everyone, Jordan Rockwell here. Thank you so much for coming to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. I'll explain this later, but trust me, you're going to want to hear it. Anyway, please hit the subscribe button below and share the channel with your friends. I want to keep a dialogue going to bring peace and love to the world. Shoot me an email at cinemaunitestheworld@gmail.com. And I will answer any questions you have for me. Follow me on Instagram while also deleting it from your phone. No more doom scrolling at Cinema Unites the World. Follow me on Twitter while also deleting Twitter from your phone. Unfollow people who you agree with who also stress you out. Use TweetDeck like I do for your career. And of course, jordanrockwell.com for all my career news and blogs. Remember those? And ideas. Hi honey, it's my daughter. So before we get into like the meat of the show today, we're going to keep doing Cinema Unites the World here. It's still going to be the same show, just very modified. I want to recommend a great film called Tokyo Story by Yasujiro Uzo, 1953. Very rarely do I have a cinematic experience where about 2/3 of the way through the picture, I say to myself, wow, this might be one of my favorite films of all time. Yeah, I knew it. Top 10, blown away. Here's a quote for you from a critic. It may be the first film where I might have cried and had no idea why. I remember thinking, it's not supposed to move me, for nothing is happening, until I realized that everything is happening. That was Marlon James from the Criterion Channel, where I saw the picture. It's brilliant pictures like this one, which is, by the way, considered to be one of the greatest films of all time from critics all around the world, that remind me that I'm so grateful that the Muse, God, what have you, gave me the idea for Cinema Unites the World. This picture is right up that idea's alley, because to state the obvious to this gaijin, aka foreigner to Japanese folks, Japanese culture is, to state the obvious, is very foreign to my own, especially exacerbated by the time in between today and 1953. And yet, I found myself relating to each and every one of these characters in some way. Spiritually moved, emotionally devastated, and human emotion and pain, no national boundaries. This is the clip here is from the great Setsuko Hara. Sorry about that. The scene with the watch. It's a spoiler, but out of context, you'll be fine. I backed this clip. That's my daughter. Hi. I packed this clip up and watched it 5 times. We actors use every tool in the toolbox we can, and I'm of the opinion that dialogue is way down the list. And what a brilliant picture this is. It's on the Criterion Channel as well as HBO Max. Yes, I am well aware that it's black and white, it's subtitled. Please give it a chance. It is well worth a 2-hour investment. And, you know, this is a picture that takes place, again, 1953, post-war Japan. We have just dropped 2 nuclear bombs on our Japanese friends. And many people think that was better than the alternative of the continuous firebombing or letting the Soviets invade. But either way, it's awful. War is hell. So I've been thinking about what my next move career-wise is, and especially since today, as I tape this, the WGA has authorized a strike. It's very sad. I hope they can figure this out quickly and get back to work. Let's face it, Hollywood is a sleazy snake pit full of lots of greedy executives and a few good ones if you can find them. It certainly seems that way. And I'm going to just come out and say I'm on the side of the picket line. Writers deserve to be paid and compensated fairly, and the cronies are always a step ahead of them to not pay them. I've had major Hollywood writers explain to me in ways that I'm not qualified to explain to you, but how they do it, how the streaming thing worked, how they screwed them over that way. So yeah, good for you. Hopefully you can resolve this quickly. Anyway, I just finished shooting the lead role in a super fun short film called The Jar. It's directed by Brian Kroll, and I play a single dad and widower, and I'm hired by a femme fatale lady, played by my new buddy Gabby, to get her heirloom back from a former lover, and it turns out that she is keeping a demonic secret from me. I'll leave it there. It's lots of fun. I can't wait for you to see it. I thought I was done with writing because I love acting so much. I love being on set, and yet the way things are going, and yes, we do have to discount the doom scrolling, but my beloved country is headed towards a crisis, and I want to be one of the ones to give us an off-ramp and get back to talking instead of fighting. I don't want to be the only one. I am always an eternal optimist, even though it's very difficult to be so these days. I'm not naive. I am able to take reality on reality's terms. But that being said, I have faith that the news of our demise have been greatly exaggerated. So doom scrolling is a term I recently came across because I realized that I have been addicted to it. We are good people here in America, and we are being divided and conquered, in my opinion, from within and without. I feel morally obligated to speak up. I love my children that much, and that's why I'm making this movie, is for them. I'm reminded of this scene right here from The Dark Knight. I think Christopher Nolan is a wonderful writer and has called things out many times. And Bruce Wayne is asking, why is he doing this? And Alfred gives the story of Burma and how you know how it is in the brilliant picture of The Dark Knight, and how these bandits are stealing gems and they think they're doing it for profit, but they're just tossing them into the river. And the lesson is some people don't want to get paid. They don't have a cause. They just want to see the world burn. And if you have nothing left to lose, then why wouldn't you want to burn it all to the ground? And we gotta stop this. So with that in mind, I'm gonna keep auditioning for paying acting gigs to help out with the budget for this picture and to pay bills, of course. But for all intents and purposes, Traitor is going to be my only thing I'm going to be doing, besides finishing up my check ride, of course, which is coming up soon to become a pilot. And I have that's all I'm going to do professionally, and I have one hell of a journey ahead of me. For some good news, in about 3 weeks or less, but no more than 3 weeks, I'm going to be launching my very first attempt at crowdsourcing to raise the funds for Traitor. I will be offering a lot of incentives to get this picture in the can, and part of that page, which is in progress, is going to be a final teaser proof of concept, which will be a slightly revised opening sequence from the film. I recently did a blue screen test, and it worked out way better than I thought it would. Check it out. Now, a lot of filmmakers use Kickstarter pages, and it's a growing process, a learning process that I am going to fail my way up in. I've also would be remiss if I did not point out that I've seen Kickstarter pages for people looking to pay their bills. And this is not okay. And I want to help any way I can. So as incentives go, some ideas I'm tossing around, in addition to special thanks in the credits, Cinema Unites the World bracelets and hats, and producing credits, for example. Also, I'm thinking about giving you script notes on your script. Promote your film, your channel on my social media accounts in perpetuity. I'm sure I'm going to fail a lot, and this is the one film I want to give to the world to make it a better place. And I have no illusions whatsoever that a short film, no matter how well we are able to make it, is going to change the world. But I'm about chasing windmills and fighting the good fight. And the only way I know how to do that is to make a picture. Never thought I'd make a message picture, but here I am. I hope we can help cooler heads prevail and bring us back from the extremes, far left, far right, because the more divided we are, the worse it's going to get for all of us, and not just America especially, but for my country, my beloved country. We need an off-ramp. We need to have cooler heads prevail. We need to stop bossing people around. And I'm thinking about the art of compromise. Speaking of the WGA strike, It's going to be resolved again eventually, hopefully sooner than later. But people think of compromise as so you and I have a conflict, and you give a little, I give a little, but neither one of us are really that happy. But what if there was a third option that no one thought about before, and that could actually make us both completely happy? And that should be the foundation of conflict resolution. That is the emotional driving force behind this film. And so if you feel the same way I do, but you want to work on this picture with me, either as an actor or member of the crew, or as an investor, please know that we are all worth saving, not just Americans, all of us around the world. And we can do better. But not to end on a dour note, this film is a warning. It is about the Second American Civil War. I'm making this film, maybe I'm chasing a windmill, but to prevent that, and hopefully do some good. I'm reminded right now of Mark Manson. Mark Manson is a wonderful writer. He wrote a great book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And he has a great YouTube channel, and he talks about, well, before I say what he says about it, what he said reminded me of Viktor Frankl, a wonderful book, important book to read called A Man's Search for Meaning, which is about Viktor Frankl's surviving the Holocaust, and his meaning. I think the phrase goes, I'll put the actual quote up there after I finish taping this, is he who can, or they who can embrace the what, embrace the reason why you're surviving, you're doing this, can endure the how, I think is how it goes. And likewise, so, Mr. Manson, who's like, you know what, do you know what he'd tell me right now? He'd say, Jordan, you're full of shit. And I'd say, you're right, Mark, so are you. And he'd say, you're right. And guess what? Is it the Dunning-Kruger effect? Like, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. Becoming a pilot has certainly given me that wonderful, humble gift. And it's a beautiful thing to always be learning more. It's a beautiful thing to know that, the more I know, the more I realize I know nothing. And it's such a beautiful thing to keep learning. It doesn't mean, bend the knee to an ideology you don't like or whatever, but maybe see the humanity in that ideology you don't like, and see the good in it, as horrific as it may be. And so Mark Manson's back to Mr. Manson, he said, you can go for anything you want. You just got to be able to withstand eating some shit sandwiches. And I'm going to have to be scarfing down shit sandwiches for the rest of my life, and I have finally learned to embrace that. Because I want to make this film so badly, and I want it to be like, this is, boy, am I just full of it. But, Frank Darabont has some issues, but guess what? The letters he got for Shawshank, that would carry me for the rest of my life, and I could just get people talking again and reconciling, for Traitor, I thought about, I'm going to just repeat myself until I make this picture, and then through the festival circuit. I thought of it's the future American Second Civil War, and I thought for a hot minute about where am I going to set it? Would I set it in Vietnam, have all Vietnamese cast, or the last iteration before I came to the current one, which is literal, was the first American Civil War, and making it allegorical, a la MASH, being about Korea but really being about Nam. But that would violate one of my founding principles, and some feedback I've gotten about Traitor is that they said, how come we don't know what sides they're on? And I said that's the whole point. And I will never reveal it. I put myself in the lead character, but that's just me. Doesn't mean I'm right. And it is actually, the relationship between the two characters is based on a friend of mine who disagrees with me on a lot of stuff. So It is my love letter to him, a love letter to a lot of decent people who I disagree with, and I really hope it makes a difference. As Red says in Shawshank, I hope. But more later next week. I'm going to keep making these just update videos every week leading up to the launch of the Kickstarter, finishing up the budget, hiring the cast and crew. I'm terrified. Good. We got this, y'all. I have to believe, I have to have faith for her, for him. We're going to be okay. Anyway, thank you very much for stopping by. I really appreciate you listening to me. I give you this pitch. Kickstarter coming soon. God bless you all. God bless America. God bless the world. For cinema unites us all. Thank you.